It's Hollie's Hotspurs, welcome back. Talking Tottenham every week, no better place to be sat. If it's a win, lose, draw, we'll be here for a chat. Best believe we tackle topics like Romero in the back. Heung-min Son, what can go wrong when he's on form? It's a dream come true, so sit back, relax.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hollie's Hotspurs Live, where we have a win to dissect, ladies and gents. I mean, it took a little bit of time to get there, but a win is a win, no doubt. With me tonight to dissect it all, I am joined by two fabulous guests. First of all, we'll start with Connor. Connor, welcome back to the channel. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. Yeah, not bad. All the better for winning at the weekend. Yeah, the belief is it's infectious. It makes you feel good. So I'm all right. Yeah, not bad. Thanks.
Good. No, it is nice to have a win to talk about on a Monday. And also joined by the amazing Billie T. Billie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm real good. Thank you. It's an honour to be here. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm excited to have you on, man. It should be a really good show. Welcome to everybody else that's joining in, that's rewatching, that's watching live. I hope you're all well. But we're going to dive straight into it. And Connor, I'm going to come to you first. Because obviously we needed a win in this game, to say the least. It took a bit of time, but we got there. What was your kind of overall take of the whole game in general?
I think, I'm not going to lie, this one was a bit different from my perspective. I went in at half time and I was thinking, you know, every week I'm looking at it and I'm saying we can't keep second half turning up and, you know, changing it around. But yeah, I mean, for me, this was probably the one for a while that's made me feel like the belief in this team is special, and all this sort of Brennan Johnson, this anti-Brennan Johnson stuff that was going around. You know, for me, that performance when he came on, that is an impact sub. That is completely turned the game around. And, you know, yeah, I feel good because we're going 1-0 down. We're that late, and we are actually sitting there thinking, wow, okay, we could, because after the Wolves result, we're thinking we really need this. Obviously, Villa in good form as well. So, but no, I'm proud of the lads. Let's not care about the first half. Let's just ignore the first half again. You know, and that's the problem in itself. We've had, I think, the last time we scored at home in the first half was New Year's Eve, and that tells you, you know, it's the same story over and over again. But yeah, no, listen, it was nice. It was lovely. It was lovely to see that the lads just completely turn it around. Even Romero, I mean, what's Romero doing up there? So, but yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
It was good, and I think that's the thing. I think it was the frustration in the first half, obviously, Billie, to then the complete turnaround in the second half. It left you feeling the ground happy.
Yeah, it did, man. I was in the first half as well, like, because I think I left at like 36 minutes, which I don't normally do. I normally go a bit later than that, but I went and sat outside in the South Stand with my mates, and like it got to like 50 minutes of the second half. We're like, do we even go back in at this point? Like, we've been in that same situation a lot of times over the last few years, and decided whether to go back in the ground and watch it or go back, you know. And then I decided to go back in, and I'm really glad that I did, because I wasn't as annoyed as I have been in the recent home games. So I did think we like proper controlled the game. It's just like a different kind of frustration that Palace just were not playing football at all. That's probably the worst performance I've seen against us at home in a long time, and I didn't expect that with their new manager. But so I wasn't that frustrated with us, because I know it wasn't like pretty to watch, but it's mainly Palace just spoiling it. So I'm glad I went back in, and I thought for that like 20 minutes when we went 1-0 down, we were absolutely brilliant. So worth it in the end for sure.
Definitely. I would say you're the good luck charm that you went back in.
Yeah.
So 100% owe that to you, Billie.
The last time I didn't do that was when we drew 2-2 with Man United, and I watched it in the pub. I missed the 2 goals, so I learned my lesson from that for sure.
No, definitely. And I think that's the thing, because Connor, the thing for me is the fact that we start these games kind of like the same way every time. And I get what Billie's saying in terms of Palace were playing that low block, and it was just hard to try and pick them apart, wasn't it?
It was, but like you say, we are in the same situation to almost every week at the minute, regardless of whether they're sitting back or not. It's a problem. For me, it's a problem if we're consistently going in at half time, either drawing or losing. You know, we can't do that against the big teams. Like, no disrespect to Palace, not that, you know, but do you see, if we're up against, you know, Villa next week, if we're going at half time away at Villa, okay, you think fine. But if you're Villa at home, a game you should be winning. I know we're away next week, but it ain't going to work, you know? So, Ange must have, I don't know, maybe he's just got some next level half-time team talks. I don't know, because we had a period under Conte where we'd come out second half and we turn the game around as well. So, Yeah, I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. You like you say, I feel like we would learn our lesson by now, but we don't. I mean, if it's working, I'm not complaining. If we're winning every week doing that, I'll take it. It's fine. Like, but I do think at some point it's gonna catch up with us, because it can't last forever starting. And it's not to say we played badly first half, but it's just struggling to break them down. I mean, we had the Timo chance. We're thinking, oh, this is it. We got kind of half time. It's great, but yeah, at one point it felt like it was going to be one of those days. But again, it's just the belief in this team is next level. I love it.
It is, and I think it's the fact that Ange just gives a rocket up their arse half time. That's the only way I can put it down to. And Billy, I know that obviously Connor's mentioned that Werner effort. I mean, if that Werner effort went in, we'd probably be having a different conversation right now. It could have been more goals in front potentially.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's what I wasn't particularly expecting, the fact that he actually came out the second half, and I think he was maybe our best player in the second half. I was a bit worried when he missed that his head was going to drop, but I think like Son went up to him at the end when he just missed that chance and gave him a bit of a rallying call. And I think it showed a lot of character from him to come back in the second half and put in that performance that he did put in and get the goal. They actually won it, because I was, we heard a lot about Timo Werner's confidence over the last few weeks and few months, few seasons or whatever. And I was thinking that chance is going to play on his mind for the rest of this game. And then it's going to be, we're going to be saying, get the piss taken out of us for having Timo Werner. But yeah, it's a massive turnaround, I think, which was good to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the thing with some of our players. It is a massive confidence thing. I mean, analysing that kind of chance that we had, Connor, it was almost like his legs were running too slow for his feet. His feet were seen to be going at 90 miles an hour, but his legs were only going at like 50. And again, is it like what Billy said? It's a confidence thing with him. His skill is there. It's just coaxing it out of him.
100% confidence. Billy's spot on there. I think, the worry is that he misses that, and then he goes another game without scoring, and he keeps going another game. It is all confidence. You saw it at Chelsea, when he was offside every other week. It's going to get to you. At one point, you're thinking, am I going to be onside, or am I going to score a goal? So 100%. And like Billy said, Sonny going up to him, that's captain material. You're backing your player. You got this, mate. Next one, you'll bury it, and that is huge. Like that Werner goal is massive for his confidence, and I think that could be the start of him getting more. It's not that he's played badly; he just hasn't had the end product. A couple of assists, but without a doubt, that goal it's always confidence for these players. That goal is going to be massive for him going forwards.
And I think that's the thing. I think, like I keep saying, there's a lot of players in that team that need confidence. But Billy, with Richarlison out as well, it was great for him to obviously get on the score sheet, to be like, look, if we don't have Richarlison, we can find goals elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we did miss Richarlison's aerial threat. Like to answer the question that I think you mentioned earlier, that I think that might be why Romero was crazily in the box in the second half for like no reason whatsoever, because we didn't have that out ball of like a cross. But yeah, it's good, really good for Timo Werner, and I'm really happy for him, man. I think he's a great guy. I love the interview that he does after as well. They're always appropriate. He seems like a proper decent bloke. So yeah, I was really happy with him, man. And you can kind of see like the South Stand where I sit, like it's quite easy to turn on players sometimes. They've done it. There's been a lot of talk about Brennan Johnson and things, and I think the South Stand actually managed to rally behind him, which I think meant a lot to him, because it could have easily have turned after that miss. So it's good to see.
Right, it is, and I think that brings back that togetherness. I think it's like we go back, Connor. I know we've had many chats on the channel. The fact that we felt so distant from Spurs last season, and this season, seeing the players so together, it makes us feel together as well, doesn't it?
100%. Do you know what? The big thing for me, and I feel this every week, under Conte, you never had, win, lose, draw, you never had all the players coming up to the South Stand at the end, rallying together, clapping, and I go back to that Chelsea game when we lost, and for me, that was a massive turning point in where we are now, which, we've struggled to get in a flow since then. But, we lost that game, and everyone is applauding the players. The players are coming to us, we're applauding them. It's like we've won, because it is like the belief and sort of excitement we're getting from these players that they are giving 100% is something that we feel like we haven't had for a very long time. So without a doubt, it's a special team, and that is credit to Ange and maybe to Sonny. When Sonny was made captain, I was sitting there thinking, Sonny knows the club, but is this the right decision? But without a doubt, he's been a phenomenal leader. And you look at the vice captains, like Billy said about Romero, Romero hasn't been booked in 2024. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not Christian Romero. That's not the Romero we know. He's changed, So it's beautiful to see. And it's like every week regardless of the result, there are elements in the Wolves game where we're thinking we are going in the right direction, and it is like that Palace result, the way we turn that around is more evidence so that we are. So.
And I think that's the thing. I think in the first half it was without a doubt pretty dead. I think from both sides as well. I know Billy's mentioned as well the fact that Palace weren't really doing a lot either. But it kind of all turned a little bit, Billy. It felt like the players were awake for once. Because in the 59th minute, obviously Eze gets that chance. And I don't know about you, when you see it in the South Stand, you see him lining up for it, you're like, oh my word, this is going in, innit?
Yeah, literally thought exactly the same. Like everyone around me as well. Everyone knew. You just knew that was going in. Like that's what happened so much against Tottenham. Like there's just sort of no chance in the game whatsoever. Then they suddenly get a free kick. It's going in. Yeah, 100%. Right behind it in the South Stand. Just knew that was going in, and it did. I know we could have probably done better with the wall placement, and maybe Fikayo shouldn't get beat on that side. But it was also just a really good free kick, and I absolutely, like, anyone who follows me knows I'm a big fan of Eze. I think he's one of my favorite players. So. Love to see those scenes at the end where people are trying to hopefully persuade him to join, because he's a special player, I think.
It would be nice to have someone on free kicks as well, to be fair.
Exactly.
So if he wants to come across.
Although we have Maddison, and we've barely even won a free kick since he's been here. So I don't know what's going on there. I can't even remember Maddison ever taking one for us, really.
No, that is true. And I think that's the thing. I think it's something that we kind of lack, in a sense that whenever we do get a free kick, I'm thinking it's not a lot of threat. But I think that's kind of been a thing with Spurs for a little while. But so having Eze would be great. But Connor, it's a thing again. I feel like at times we have that little bit lack of concentration, and we give away a silly free kick at chances when we know that we're not great at defending these kind of set pieces. What did you kind of make of that whole kind of leading up to that free kick?
It was silly. It's Bentancur, isn't it? Who fouled him? He's better than that. It is such a silly foul to make, and like you say, we are. I mean, I know it's set pieces as a whole. We're not great with corners, and free kicks are slightly different. But as a whole, we are poor with set pieces. And like Billy said, the wall management was awful. That for me is evidence of how bad we are. With if you've got Eze on free kicks, right, and you've got the wall like that, you're asking for trouble. He is a phenomenal footballer. So. The foul itself was silly. I don't care who you're against. I don't care if you're against City or Palace or whatever. You don't foul in that area. And it's not like Palace were clean through. You had the whole back line there. It was a silly foul. But you know what? It might have actually been a blessing, because, like you say, the goal actually kicked us into gear a bit. So it's just, we'd like to sit here and say, a clean sheet. That's the thing. Again, I know in this system we always leak goals, but it is looking at the minute like we're just going to leak goals every week. But I mean, as long as we're winning, I don't mind. But yeah.
I think that's the big thing that people are saying about, obviously, whether Ange is going to change his tactic. And I think we know with Ange, he's going to be stubborn and not going to change his tactics. But Billy, it's refreshing. Yes, it takes us a long while to score these goals, but at least we are scoring more than we're conceding. I know this Crystal Palace game is the most recent one that's evident of that. But for you, are you kind of worried that we're leaking goals, or do you just think it's the way we're going to play? As long as we're scoring more, it don't matter.
I think Saturday was a lot better in terms of our defensive shape. I think it's the lowest XG we've conceded this year so far. I think we looked a lot more solid, but that might just because Palace did not offer anything whatsoever. And I think in time it's going to come. I think when we've had our back four playing, which has not been as much as we'd wanted to, our defense has looked pretty solid, and I think we are going to sometimes ship a few goals just from the way that we play. But it's not something I'm particularly worried about, because I go to football to see goals. I don't go to football to watch us defend. You know what I mean? I've seen enough years of that over the last few years. And this sort of attacking team is everything that I want in a football team, really. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So yeah, I'm really happy for us to, as long as we keep. My main issue is like our intensity doesn't seem to be there for like the 90 minutes at the moment. There seems to be sometimes at the beginning of the season we would start really well and then end really poorly. Now we're sort of starting really poor and ending really well. But I think when you think we're only 6-7 months into a new manager, new project, then it's only natural to that to happen. I'm really excited about where we're going to go next, I think
that's the thing. I think as frustrating as that first half was, I think it's all about perspective, isn't it, Connor? In a sense that we are, like Billy says, only so far in this journey with Ange, and we're further on than I thought we would be this far in the season.
100%. Honestly, Hollie, I have this conversation every week with Spurs fans. Like I fall out with Spurs fans every week because going, after Wolves game, I got people messaging me going, you know what, I'm not sure. I think Ange is too one-dimensional, and we ain't got plan B, and it's not looking right. And I'm like, listen, we are so early in this project. Like, based on last season, if you're looking at where we are now, How can you tell me at all that you're disappointed or you're worried about where we're going? Like the end of last season, I'm sitting there thinking if we get 7th this season, then that's a miracle because of how disjointed we were. The fact that we are pushing top 4, even if we, again, I will keep saying this, even if we don't get top 4, even if we don't get top 5, it's not a disaster because this is a whole new team. It's a whole new system. It's so much has changed. We've got a whole new sort of dynamic, the way we play everything, that it needs time. And the main thing right now is the belief. I'm seeing more and more fans staying after the game, even when we're losing. And that tells you how upbeat we are. It used to last season, it was very much we'd lose, we'd go, I'm going home, I'm not staying, and I know people have their opinions on people that stay, the owners, we're not going to get into that. But the point is, things are so bright at the minute. If we lose a game, we've just got to remember it's so early. It's part of the project. We are going to lose more games. We're not going to go unbeaten for the rest of the season, but it's part and parcel with this project. And just had 2 windows, right? Two. One of them is a January, which is always impossible to do business in anyway. And one of those players has already slotted in quite well, and the other one we've not seen any of at all. So, no, I'm so excited, and I think anyone that has doubts, I just say just patience. If you understand what a project is, patience. Because we really are going in the right direction.
And I think that's the thing in terms of obviously having that patience. We have had a lot of patience, but Billy, I know we're going slightly off topic from the game, but we'll get back to the game. But in terms of the process, you can actually see where we're heading for once. Whereas when we had Conte and when we had Jose, and yes, I thought we were going to win a trophy, but it wasn't for that long-term project. But you feel with the windows we've had, there's actually a place that we're heading to. And it's going to be a place that I think we're all going to enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. And our recruitment over the last 3-4 years, even in the slight period beforehand, has got a lot better over there. But now it seems like everyone's in unison. Like, the kind of profile of the players that we want. Ange does, the club does, everyone does. We're signing young players, which I think really helps get the fans on board as well. And some of the players we signed over the last 2 years are just like, I know we'll talk about him a lot in a minute. It's probably Mickey van der Ven, like what an incredible signing that is. And like that kind of a player, you just, gets you really excited for the future. And I think you also, the noise come out of from the players. I don't know if you saw the Romero interview that mentioned earlier when he was talking about Ange. All the players seem to be on board with Ange. We've got a couple of players out on loan that are going to come in next season as well. That's really exciting. So yeah, it's a proper exciting time, and it's just like it's much needed. Like, patience, as you say, like we've been through a lot as a fan base. We've put up with a lot, got a lot wrong, an awful lot wrong in the last 5 years or so, and it's about time we had something, a plan with a clear direction, I think.
And it feels like we're finally heading in the right direction. Well, fingers crossed anyway. But we're going to go back to the game because obviously we talk about that rocket up players' butts. And it did come obviously when Eze scored that goal, because then we had super sub Johnson come on. And Connor, I'm going to let you fire away with Johnson because for me it's the same. It's the biggest bugbear with me. We need to give players time, and I think with super sub Johnson, it's finally coming to light that he is a good player.
I love him. I love him so much. You watch him for that goal. Anderson ain't no mug. Anderson's a good defender, but Johnson didn't give up. He was chasing it. He was trying. And for me. Okay, you got all these people saying he can't play 90 minutes. All right, I don't care. Well, then we will have him as an impact sub because bloody hell, the impact that he keeps having off the bench is insane. It's special. No, and I do love him. I love his attitude. He has had a lot of stick. Again, we've discussed it before. He's had to mute his comments on social media because of the amount of stick he was getting. But it is time. Like you said, we say time all the time, but it is time. Seriously, like it's not a player. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect Jack Clarke here. Jack Clarke was probably a signing that was it Mourinho or Conte? Jack Clarke came in under, or it might be, yeah. Anyway, but that wasn't a manager signing. Brennan Johnson, you're spending that money. He's a manager signing. He's a project signing. He's young. He's exciting. He's got a little bit of Prem experience, but he's bought into this project. Players that buy into the project, I'm going to back them all the way. Like they want to be here. They want to, and he's happy to sit on the bench and come on. And this is, for me, this is the big thing about him. He sits on that bench every week, every other week, right? And he comes on and he's full of energy. He's up for it. He wants to prove himself. And that is what I love about him. He just does not stop. And coming on 2 assists, it's, like I say, that assist for the first goal, you cannot praise that enough. He just did not give up. And that's what I love about him. And yeah, he's only going to get better. So, soon enough, all these people that have been saying all this stuff about him, they're going to run out of things to moan about. They're going to moan about, I don't know, players that aren't here anymore. You know, it's just because there is. I love him. I love him. He's so Spurs, and he's such a happy bloke. It's even better.
And the thing is, he's got that swagger as well. Like you say, that determination to keep the ball, to go past the player, and to put that ball through, Billy. I mean, the ball itself to Werner back was just insane, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and luckily that's literally right in front of me where I sit, front row, so I could see it. And what I was really worried about, because when he came on, he missed a sitter like with his first touch from like about 5 yards out, and I was worried that it was going to get to him. But I think he won a couple of balls back, and like the crowd really got behind him, and I think that's a message that you have to have for these like our fan base, because we can turn on players quite quickly. Like my favorite ever player, Aaron Lennon, did an interview this week with the club where he was talking about how hearing the fans get behind him really, really spurred him on in his career. And I think like Brennan Johnson is that similar kind of that player of electric pace like that. He's obviously had a bit of a mixed reception at times, which has led to him having to turn off his Instagram comments. But if we're not getting behind this guy, then what are we even doing as a fan base? Like, I think we have a responsibility to get behind our players like that. You know, he's a young player. He's a proper exciting player. He's getting good output as well. So if we can't get behind that as a fan base, then what are we even doing here? It really frustrates me that it's even a question, to be honest.
Agreed. And I think the thing is, I think there's a stat that Tottenham put out. If it was 27 minutes that he had, you can tell I've written this down. He had 2 assists and obviously 19 passes. And within that, Connor, he's managed to give us the goods and basically give us 2 goals to win us the game, didn't he?
Exactly. And it tells you that he doesn't even need a lot. He doesn't. He's hungry. He wants to get involved. And you know what? For me, we were saying about confidence earlier, and you know we can say about him not scoring and stuff. But if he keeps getting assists, he's going to keep having that belief, and eventually he'll slot straight into the starting lineup. But no, I like I say, I love his attitude. I love that he is consistent. You know, for so long we've always said as a club, you know, we haven't had depth. We've never really had players on the bench that we can bring on and make an impact. But he already is that player. It's not the first time this season that he's done that. In his first season, after all these setbacks he's had with some of the stuff that's been said about him, no, he's fantastic. He's brilliant.
And from then, we really did step up again. Because I think it was like 3 minutes, Billy, where we then saw Romero rise like a salmon. And to be honest with you, I thought he had Ed Rush being that far up the pitch. What did you kind of make of that goal as well?
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing there, man. I have absolutely no idea. But I love it because we had no aerial threat in the box whatsoever. I just love that he took it upon himself to go there. And I particularly loved the celebration as well, man. That was a real highlight for me because, like, I just love the way that he gave it the shirt, gave it the badge, and he seems to be a player that's totally in love with the club at the moment. And that kind of sums up where we're heading as a club. So yeah, absolutely loved it, man. Absolutely loved it.
It was, and it's that togetherness again that we've been talking about the whole show. The fact that I think it was wasn't it Richie as well that decided to run in with all the celebrations as well.
Yeah,
it just really shows that
wearing the retro shirt as well, Richie. Shout out that.
Oh, yes. Honestly, I loved it. It was really nice. Before we move on, I want to say a big thank you to Alan from Time Added On for raiding. I still don't understand you did it, but thank you very much. Welcome to everybody that's tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed Alan's show. But obviously, it wasn't enough, was it, Connor? Because we had to go and get the third, didn't we? And it was that man, Sonny. What did you make of his goal as well?
It was trademark Sonny, you know what I mean? If he's ever clean through, you'd put your house on him to bury that, you know? Like the amount of times he scored that specific goal, it was, no, he is such a, he is a, you know what? Like, I feel like we keep talking more about, you know, where's our son replacement, what we're doing in the future, this, that, the other. But you know what? I don't want to even have those thoughts anymore. I just want to enjoy him while he's here because he is like he can have a game where he ain't doing a lot, then he'll just pop up with a goal like that. He just bursts the pace. You know, he's played that long in the game and he's still willing to burst the pace and finish like that. No, he is a true captain. And like I say, I had my doubts when he was first appointed, but he's doing such a fantastic job in as captain.
And that's the thing as well, because obviously I know we've spoken about Johnson, but he got the third assist as well, Billy, from that goal. And again, it was just a slight bit of thinking to be like, right, quick, release it quick, because Sonny's through in, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, we'll probably talk about this a bit later on, but against that Aston Villa high line, that's what we want to see in it, really. Like, I genuinely don't think there's a better player one-on-one in the world. I know his finishing stats back that up as well. I think he's like way ahead of any other finisher in terms of outperforming his XG this season, and I think he's the best one-on-one finisher in the game. Like you compare it to the Werner chance. I don't mean to slight on Timo, but the difference between in the composure in the one-on-one between Son and Timo, and in fact Son and any player in the world is different, because you have no doubt in your mind that he's going to score that. Like, not for a second did I doubt that was going in, and he just does it time and time and time again. And there's no better player I can imagine going through on goal one-on-one than Heung-min Son.
100%, Billy. And obviously it was a great turnaround, but there were so many great individual performances, bar obviously the first 40 minutes. But Connor, for me, Daddy Longlegs, Mickey van der Ven, oh my word. I think we obviously, as a collective fan base, we all voted him as our man of the match, but my word, I bloody love him.
I nearly burst into tears when he went down. I was like, I can't have this, man. I can't have us not having Mickey. Like, seriously, right, for me, if we lose any player for the rest of the season, if we lost Mickey van der Ven, that's the biggest loss in my eyes. I know we haven't seen Dragusin yet, really, so we can't say how much he's stepping, but bloody hell, man, he's so composed and comfortable. Oh, is he 22? Like, it's insane how, I know we play the high line, so we leave ourselves exposed, but you're not worried. Whenever someone's coming through, you're not worried, because he's always got it covered. He was so good. He's good every week, and I just think he's only going to get better. And and I feel like as well, I know we said this before, but I know having him next to Romero has definitely like chilled Romero out. Romero's not having to be rash. He can actually relax a little bit now, because he knows he's got some massive sort of just composed, you know what I mean? I love him. I love Mickey, honestly. For me, he's within a shout to be one of our players of the season, or our players of the season. He's been so good. I love him.
He is crazy, honestly. And I was the same. As soon as he went down, I was like, oh my word, I'm banning myself from coming to another game, because I am the jinx. But luckily he did manage to get up, Billy. But what have you made, not only of his performance against Palace, but the whole season in general?
I think it's easy to sort of forget how crazy it is in the context of being like 22 or whatever he is, or 21, 22, and like putting in this kind of performance from day one. Like, I can't remember a single bad game from him. He hasn't had a bad game for sure. And it's crazy that we have this, what is easily one of the best young defenders in the world, if not the best centre-back prospect in the world. And like, I completely agree that if there's one player that's going to get injured, that's going to fuck us, it's going to be him, because like, he is such a cheat code for the system, because you can sort of rely on the ball going over the top and not really mattering much, which is a crazy thing, really, when you play a high line like us, because he can just come back and sweep it up, as he did many, many times against Palace. Probably the most effective I've seen him do that. But when we play the high line like us, you're not worried about balls going over the top, because Van der Ven is like, he's literally a cheat code. He is actually a cheat code in football, and like, it's just crazy that we have him. I'm just like, every night going to bed praying for his hamstrings for the rest of my life until we leave him. So yeah, just incredible player, man.
I think everybody would donate their hamstrings if we see him go down the way he did
Definitely,
again in the start of that game. But no, I think for me, Mickey is just, there's a lot of players obviously that I've loved, but I think Mickey's the first one I've really, really loved as a centre-back. And it's mad to think, obviously, I know I haven't got very high standards because I said Winksy was my favourite, but he's just insane. I mean, Connor, for you, obviously, it was a great turnaround from everyone. Is there anybody else that you'd say was up for a shout for man of the match other than Mickey van der Ven?
Can I say Brennan, even though he came on, just because of his impact? That would be my one, to be honest. Vic did a job again. Vic always does a job. I can't think of any real bad games that Vic has had since he's come in either. That was a worry when he went down. Oh my God, it was double nightmare. So I'm thinking, oh my God, we could lose Mickey, then we could lose Vic as well. But yeah, no, I'd say probably just Brennan otherwise, because he is, again, that impact. It's literally just, we've been crying out for so long to have someone who can come on and change the game, and he's done that, whether it's just through his work ethic, whether it's through the little passes he finds. That's the attitude we want. We want players that can come in and want to fight for it. That for too long we've had players that come on and don't really do anything, and he's really shown that he wants to be in this team, he wants to play, he wants to get involved, and that's what I love about him.
No, I think we're all under the same kind of idea of that as well. I mean, Billy, is there anybody else that you kind of add to the mix rather than Brennan or Mickey?
Yeah, I thought Timo Werner had a really, really good second half, I think. And also, I think he was absolutely robbed of a penalty, which is one of the most obvious penalties I've ever seen. I don't know how on earth it didn't get given. And I thought Romero was outstanding all game as well. I just want to shout out Basuma as well. I don't think he was in the running for man of the match quite, but I think it's the best game he's had since he came back into the team, which has been a bit worrying, his form lately. So you could start to see the signs of him getting back to himself. And likewise, Maddison as well. It was the great assist for Romero, and he was starting to make the strings happen. I don't think either of them are quite at where they were when they, in that first 10-game period when we were blowing away teams every week, but hopefully they're both getting there now, because I think we really have missed their kind of form that they had at the beginning of the season.
I think that's the thing. I think there's quite a few players with obviously the injuries and going on international break that have kind of dipped in a little bit of form. And it's actually made me remember that question I want to ask you, Connor, and that is obviously Bentancur. There's lots of talks about him not potentially being to his best, people worrying whether he's going to get back to his where he was before his injury. Are you worried, would you say? Or do you think it's just one of those things, it's a very big injury to come back from?
It's a very big injury. Yeah, it's the injury at the end of the day. He came back and then he had another setback. So it looked like the lad had no luck at all. No, it is time. I mean, what was it? I think Ali Gold tweeted something saying like Spurs reckon he ain't going to be back to full capacity until next season anyway. So the good thing is that we can play him for that long. That he is able to play that many minutes, and he's naturally going to get his confidence back and his ability to move like he used to. So no, I'm not worried. I think what I actually loved about the game was, for me, Sarr was probably the best centre midfielder we've had. I know we lost all those players, AFCON, injuries, whatnot, but Sarr, for me, I was surprised Sarr wasn't starting. So the fact that you could have Basuma and Bentancur do the job and bring Sarr in, that was a positive for me. So no, I'm not worried. I'm a little bit. I'm sad. I'm just sad for him, because I'd love for him to be at his level, because we all know how good a player he is. But I'm not worried, because I know that Sarr can step in. I'm not going to say Skippy, because I know that'll rattle loads of people. But yeah, no, I think he'll be all right. Again, he just needs time. I think people just need to understand that he isn't going to be at the level that he's at, and that's okay, because we do have a little bit. Again, we have a little bit more depth than we used to have. If this was last season, and we lost Bentancur against Leicester, you could say that's where we slowly derailed. If anything, like we just went downhill from there. So no, I'm not worried. I just want if he has a bad game, fans to not turn on him and just give him a little bit more patience, because he is a special player.
I think that's the thing. It's just patience again, which I think some Spurs fans struggle a little bit with, just a tiny bit. But we're going on a good direction at the moment. But obviously, we do have to turn our heads, because Billy, next up is Villa away. So, what's your kind of overall feelings for this one? How do you see it going down?
Pretty scary, to be honest. Something pretty terrifying, right? Just because of the magnitude of the game. Like, it's come at a time where it's kind of all or nothing. Like, because I think if they beat us, they go 8 points ahead of us, which seems a bit maybe insurmountable with 11 games to go, even though we got a game in hand. And it's just one of those ones that if we win, it's such a big win for us in this season. And I think Villa are kind of a little bit up and down with form at the moment. They kind of got a good result against Luton, but they sort of hung on a bit, and they got a bit lucky at the end to come back into that game. They went 2-0 up. Watkins looks really good, and they sort of then went 2-2 and looked a bit shaky. So, yeah, I'm terrified of it, just because it's such a big game for us. Like, I have no idea how it's going to go, because like we play a high line, they play an even higher line, and it's sort of on paper it's two like teams that are just going to really go for each other. And I think in wide contrast to the Palace game, you're not going to see that kind of game that we saw by any means. And I have absolutely no idea where it's going to go. But I'm terrified, man. I'm absolutely terrified about this game. Not necessarily in a bad way. It's just there's a lot riding on it.
And that's the thing with Spurs. We love it when things are riding a lot on us, because we tend to flake a little bit. So I think I totally understand that you're terrified. I think I'm kind of in that boat as well. I mean, Connor, are you kind of on the same sentiment? How do you kind of see this one going down for you as well?
Do you know what? I'm less worried than I would have been a couple of weeks ago, to be honest. I'm still bricking it, but I think at the same time, the players. For me, the main thing was when those players were coming back. Maddison clearly wasn't up to it. Palace, he showed the moments, great assist from Romero. I think Villa's home form has dipped a bit. They were unbeaten for all that period. It was a ridiculous record. It was 19 home games, one in a row. It was something like that. They were flying, and then they lost, and then they lost to United at home as well. So yeah, Billy's right. Their form is a little bit shaky. They've got a lot of fantastic players. If it's not Watkins, it's Louise. If it's not Louise, it's Bailey. They've just got a great squad. The worry is that it's Villa at home, and you know, we were dreadful. I know it was under Conte. No, it weren't Conte. It was Mason. We were dreadful away at Villa last season. We relied on a Harry Kane penalty to not make it look worse than it was. But yeah, no, I'm less worried than I was because Villa's form has dipped at home because we got the players picking up a little bit of form. For me, my main worry is if we haven't got Porro. Like, I'm going to be so much more relieved if Porro is available because we're just such a better outfit with Porro and a doggy. You know, I'm not going to sit here and slate Emerson, you know, but it is, we play, you know, we're so much more bringing the game to them when Porro's playing. And obviously Emerson is naturally more reserved. So if I see Porro on that team sheet an hour before, I'm going to be thinking, yeah, all right, we can take this easily. But if it's not, then if we come away with a draw, I'll still be happy. But it's going to be tough regardless because they're going to be up for it because they want Champions League. They haven't played Champions League for, what is it, like 15 years or maybe even longer than that, you know. So they're going to be so up for this. And it's massive in the grand scheme of things with the games left as well. You know, we can't, because we've still got to play Arsenal, City, Liverpool. You know, so this really is a big game. So I'm nervous, but Porro will hopefully make me less nervous if he's available.
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Porro because obviously, Billy, there was talk that he could be potentially back for this game. Are you with Connor in a sense that is probably going to be something that maybe sways you to be a bit more confident about this one and not so scared?
Listen, you know, my guy Emerson Royale is my guy, but like the drop off between him and Porro is insane. As much as that pains me to say that, like, I didn't think Emerson had a bad game at all against Palace. It's probably one of his better games, but Porro just adds so much more to our team. It's unbelievable. Like, we really miss him in the build-up, I think, and not having him there. And I definitely think if we've got him against Villa, it'd be a big lift for us because I think you could make a pretty strong case that he's been our best player this season, I think. So yeah, it'd be a huge good to have him back. As much as it hates me to say that against my guy Emerson Royale, I just think, you know, the levels between him and Porro is not comparable, I don't think.
No, I think Pedro Porro is definitely slightly, if not more, above Emerson Royale. But Janet's made a great point here, Connor, and the fact that obviously they do play in Europe, and I believe it's Ajax. So
yes.
it gets
away
us
as well,
away
I
for
think.
them.
Away,
Mhm.
yeah.
So that could sway in our favour.
Emery could have an eye on that, to be fair. I think the only thing with that is the two legs, to be honest. I think they'd rather go all out against us and push for that Champions League than risk the first leg in my eyes. But you know, Janet does make a good point there because even that he might take a couple of the players off early. He might rest Bailey, might rest. But they've got a good level of depth as well. I'm going to try not to think about it too much because it's going to worry.
Ajax are terrible this season as well. Like they're really bad. It's rubbish. Like, and I don't think they'll have too many problems. Sadly, just got to pray for a couple of injuries would be nice.
That would be nice. I mean, I'm not for one for saying that I want a player to get injured, but obviously there is potentially one player on that team.
I mean, yeah.
And I think I don't even have to say his name because Billy, I think we know what we're talking about.
We know who you're talking about. We've been waiting for this fixture for a long time, and I just hope. You know what? There's a lot of chat about. You know, we hope Romero will fly into him or whatever. I just hope we beat them. I think that's the best revenge we can get. Just beat them, take top 4 off them, and have Matty Cash playing in the Europa League again next year. That's the best thing we can do. I despise him. I absolutely hate him. I hate everything about him. I hate his arrogance. I hate the way that he reacted to injuring 2 of our players with like just no genuine like remorse whatsoever. And I hope the karma that he gets will be just us finishing above him. I think that's the best thing we can do, to be honest.
That's the thing, kill him with kindness, isn't it, Connor?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a silly question to ask me, but I'm guessing you're on the same kind of foot in terms of it.
Oh yeah, no, listen, we're so much better than the pettiness of him. We really are, honestly. It ain't worth rising to that level. We can say all we want. Oh, we hope he breaks his leg. No, I don't want that. You know, we're going to rise above that. You know, we're not that petty. And listen, you know, he couldn't get an England team, and he went to Poland because he couldn't. So you know, that's all you need to say about him. There you go.
And that is a great way to finish, obviously, the Villa preview. It's been great tonight to dissect everything. Obviously, it was amazing to get that turnaround. Be great to go to Villa and get a win. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna get your score prediction. So, Billy, I'm gonna come to you first. What is your score prediction against Villa?
Do you know what? I think this is the hardest match I've had to predict for all season. I have absolutely no idea. I'm gonna go 3-2 Tottenham. I think it's going to be very high scoring, and I think we might just come away with it.
Oh my word, that sounds very stressful for me. I can't wait.
It does, right?
And Connor, how about you?
I want to be as optimistic as Billy is there. I really do. I'm so gutted that I'm saying I'm going to go 2-2. I think.
I would take that, by the way. I would take 2-2 now.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I'd love the win, but yeah, I think they are going to be so up for it. We're going to be so up for it, but they are going to be so. And Villa Park, when the atmosphere is rocking. So yeah, no, I'm going to say 2-2.
I think a draw would be. I would take that all day because we just can't lose that game. If we lose a game, we're fucked. But a draw, I'd take it all day.
Definitely a draw.
What about
win.
you? What are you saying, Holly? What would you think?
I was hoping you weren't going to Uno reverse me. I'll probably go with Chris and say 2-1. I think I said 2-1 when I looked at the fixture, so I'm going to stick to my guns and say that. But my word, 3-2 or 2-2 draw. I mean, who cares? I'll take it regardless. But it will be a very stressful and interesting game. But with Spurs, that's always the way, so I cannot wait. But it has been amazing to dissect the game and preview the next game coming up. So we'll go around the circle and say our goodbyes where we can all find us. So Connor, thank you again for joining me tonight. Where can everybody find you?
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Love coming on. You can find me. CT's. I always point it. I come on it all the time. I point in the wrong direction. CT's Glovenia on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I make silly videos, rants, some silly parodies. Although they are sort of slowly going out. I'm retiring them soon, sadly. Yeah. Chat about football. Chat about Spurs. Have a good time. My most important thing that I'm going to say here is Hollie. God, I can't point in the right. Anyway, Hollie's nearly at 3K. All right, press that subscribe button. Do it because Hollie's content's fantastic. And help her get a 3K. Yeah.
Thank you, Connor. It's only as good as my guests, so that's a credit to use as well. And Billy, it's amazing to have you on. It's been great to chat with you. Where can everybody find you?
Just Billie T on Twitter and just usually in the comments of Emerson Morale's Instagram live. So that's about it. That's the best place to find me always with my guy Emerson Morale. So yeah, and thank you very much for having me, man. It's been a pleasure, and I really hope you get to 3K soon because you definitely deserve it. I've been a big fan of yours for a few years now. So yeah, keep going, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Cheers. But no,
it's been amazing. I got to say, man, it's the first time I've met you since. But how was the fucking Ledley King thing, man? Because that's like my fucking idol, and like, how was that? That must have been fucking scary.
It was very surreal. I'm not going to lie to you because it's fine doing it in my living room, but doing it in an actual hall was a bit surreal and a bit crazy. But
I was so buzzing when I saw that you were doing that. That's a dream for anyone, right?
That was it. Honestly, I still pinch myself to this day. I mean, I am milking it a little bit on the timeline.
Yeah, you got it though.
Listen, milk it for all it's worth.
It doesn't even pay for us anymore. Tottenham milking them every single week. You can definitely get away with it.
There we go. Another video's coming out soon. But no, honestly, it was mad. But again, that's
what's he like? Is he just a lovely? I've met him a couple of those fan things before, but I've never like properly spoke to him. But is he like a lovely guy?
He's literally how you think he would be. Yeah. He's literally so nice, and he's so down to earth. Because obviously we were sat on a table eating dinner with him, and the people on our table were just asking him questions before we'd even done the interview. But he was like trying to eat his potatoes, and someone would ask him another question, and then he'd have to answer the question. Bless him. But no, he's a class act. We were definitely lucky to have him for as long as we did at Tottenham, captain the side. But yeah, man, incredible. Yeah. But yeah, and that's all thanks to obviously you guys coming on the pods, people watching the pods that's given me that opportunity. So again, thank you to everybody that comes on, to everybody that watches. I appreciate it a lot. But that also brings me on to obviously on Wednesday, Hotspur Huddle with Wes, and we'll also have Nelson this week. So make sure you tune in for that one. He has got more of a coaching brain than I have, so he can draw all the lines and explain everything. I just ask the questions. And then Hollie's Hotspurs Live is back next Monday, where hopefully we have got a win. Even if we have a draw, that's still nice, but a win would be even better. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.